Hello, and welcome to another module of Plan and Estimate. Let us conclude this chapter by discussing the Update Sprint Backlog process. In this process, the Scrum Core team updates the sprint backlog with task details and, if available, the task estimates. The updated sprint backlog will be used in the implement phase to track the team's progress during the upcoming sprint. The mandatory inputs to this process are Scrum Core Team, Task List, Length of Sprint, and Sprint Backlog. Please refer to the discussion on the inputs of the Create User Stories process for a better understanding of Scrum Core Team. And refer to the outputs of the Identify Tasks and Estimate Task processes for a better understanding of Task List. Also refer to the discussion on output of Conduct Release Planning process for a better understanding of length of sprint. And refer to the outputs of the Commit User Stories process for a better understanding of the sprint backlog. The mandatory tool for this process is Sprint Planning Meeting. During sprint planning meetings, user stories are committed for a sprint, and tasks are identified and estimated by the Scrum team. Each Scrum team member also uses the task list to select the tasks they plan to work on in the sprint, based on their skills and experience. The Scrum team also updates the sprint backlog and creates a sprint burndown chart using the user stories and the task list during the sprint planning meetings. The mandatory outputs of this process are updated sprint backlog, updated Scrum board, and sprint burndown or burn up chart. Let's look at updated sprint backlog. The Scrum Core team updates the sprint backlog with details of the tasks associated with the committed user stories in the sprint backlog. If available, task estimates are also updated in the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is used in the implement phase to track the team's progress during the sprint. Once the sprint backlog is finalized and committed to by the Scrum team, new user stories should not be added. However, tasks that might have been missed or overlooked from the committed user stories may need to be added. If new requirements arise during a sprint, they will be added to the prioritized product backlog and included for consideration in a future sprint. Another output is Updated Scrum Board. The Scrum Board is updated to reflect the information in the updated sprint backlog, including any updates to the task, task statuses, and task estimates if available. And lastly, the Sprint Burndown or Burn Up chart. Burn charts, either burn down or burn up, are used to track progress in a Scrum project. A burndown chart is a graph that depicts the amount of work remaining in relation to the remaining time. Unlike the burn down chart, a burn up chart depicts what has been completed in relation to the remaining time. Burn charts are used in the implement phase to track the Scrum team's progress during a sprint, and to get an early indication if the team will be able to complete all the user stories that were committed to for that sprint. This concludes our session on the Plan and Estimate phase. Thank you for learning with us!